I cut my hair with sewing shears, bound my chest, and became Eli Dane, the Chicago Tribune's newest cowboy artist correspondent. The Drovers Union hired Gage Rourke to push 2,000 longhorns to Cheyenne, and I was assigned to sketch it all. Gage was built like a cottonwood trunk, and his eyes missed nothing. Not a lame steer nor a greenhorn's trembling gun hand. I hunched my shoulders, lowered my voice, and kept my sketchbook open, but his gaze lingered on me too often. The first river crossing swept a calf downstream, and I dove in without thinking, hauling it gasping onto the muddy bank. Gage dragged me out by my collar, and his hand froze against my soaked shirt where the binding had slipped dangerously loose. He yanked me behind the chuck wagon, his face thunderous, and hissed, "What in tarnation are you?" And I thought my life ended. I stammered the truth. Eleanor, widow, newspaper artist, desperate to support my orphan niece and avoid the textile mills forever. He stood silent for a full minute while Cowboy shouted. Then he dropped his coat around my shoulders and walked away without exposing me. That night he left a dry shirt and a note under my bedroll. "Your secret is safe. Draw true, ride hard." I watched him after that, a watchdog disguised as a trail boss, and my heart began sketching him from memory alone. He never mentioned my gender again, but he assigned me lighter night watches and glared at any hand who got too curious. A drunk wrangler cornered me near the remuda, and Gage appeared like a ghost, knocking him cold with one crushing silent blow. He carried the man to the chuck wagon and claimed sunstroke, and I realized I was falling for this gruff, fierce protector entirely. One evening, I drew a portrait of him holding a newborn calf, and I slipped it into his saddlebag before dawn broke. At noon, he rode beside me, and with no preamble, he said, "That drawing is the kindest thing I ever owned." I confessed I'd been sketching him for weeks, that my private journal was filled with his hands, his profile, his strength. He reined his horse close and murmured, "I've known you were a woman since the first dust cloud, and I haven't slept." We began meeting behind the herd during the slow noon graze, sharing coffee and the tiny, thrilling, dangerous, beautiful truth of us. He told me about his mother, a Choctaw woman who died on a reservation, and how he'd never trusted anyone until now. I told him how my husband died of consumption, leaving nothing but debts, and he held my hand until the cattle lowed. In Ogallaz, a journalist from a rival paper sneaked into camp and shouted, "That artist is a woman," and chaos erupted. Gage stood before the whole crew and declared, "She's a better cowboy than any man here, and she rides under my protection." The men voted to keep me, and the rival journalist slunk away, but the secret was now a headline in every paper. My editor in Chicago cabled, "Come home and write the full scandal story," but I tore the message to shreds. Instead, I wrote Gage a letter and left it in his saddlebag. "I choose the trail, the dust, and you." He read it by firelight, and when he looked up, his hard, lonely face had cracked open into the rarest smile. We left the herd in Cheyenne and rode north together. Just 2 horses, a sketchbook, and a love no newspaper could contain. He bought a small ranch near the Bighorns, and I drew the deed in ornate letters, then framed it above our hearth. I no longer bind my chest or call myself Eli, but the cowboy still nod respectfully when that artist woman rides through town. Gage and I train cutting horses now, and he whispers old Choctaw words into their ears while I sketch their liquid grace. Our daughter, Wren, draws better than both of us, and she paints her father as a giant with a heart of fire. Last week, a young woman from the city arrived disguised as a boy, asking for work, and we hired her on the spot. Gage told her, "Courage wears many coats, and we don't ask which one fits the body underneath," and I wept proudly. Western Old Stories Official now tells this story so every hidden heart knows the frontier still holds space for boundless, fearless love.